In 2012, the world eagerly awaited the release of Argo, a film directed by and starring Ben Affleck. The movie dramatized the 1979 CIA mission to rescue 6 American diplomats from Tehran during the Iran hostage crisis, blending elements of suspense, history, and Hollywood. What few people knew was that the filming of Argo would lead Affleck himself into a dangerous situation that echoed the very plot of the movie he was creating. The Argo production team had chosen to film the majority of the movie in Los Angeles, disguising the city to resemble the streets of 1979 Tehran. But as the final cut approached, Affleck, driven by a perfectionist desire for authenticity, convinced a small team of producers and key actors to go to Turkey, which bordered Iran, for a few critical shots. It wasn't Iran, but close enough to capture the mood and landscape he sought. However, during a covert trip to Istanbul, a fateful event would turn this creative endeavor into a real-life nightmare. It was a warm day in mid-June when Affleck and his crew arrived in Istanbul. The Golden Horn shimmered under the afternoon sun, but despite the beauty surrounding them, an air of unease cloaked the production team. Affleck, however, was laser-focused, determined to push boundaries. His goal: to find a location that captured the tension and paranoia of revolutionary Iran. "I need the grit," he told his producers. "I want the audience to feel the dust of Tehran, the pulse of danger." For several days, they filmed in Istanbul's older neighborhoods, their narrow streets and bustling markets closely resembling Tehran's atmosphere. But something felt off. The Turkish government was cooperative, but Affleck's desire for realism pushed him into suggesting they cross the border into Iran for just a few secret shots. "We just need a day," Affleck insisted. "We'll get in and get out. No one will even know we were there." His producers were initially resistant, arguing about the political risks, the legality, and the potential for diplomatic trouble. But Affleck's vision for Argo was compelling, and after weeks of persuasion, a decision was made. They would take a small crew and covertly slip into Iran for less than 24 hours, shoot their scenes, and leave. With the help of a few local fixers, they planned the operation. In the early morning hours of June 23rd, Affleck and 4 crew members, including a Turkish fixer named Ali, crossed into Iran near a remote area of the Turkish-Iranian border. They wore plain clothes, with only small handheld cameras, avoiding any hint that they were connected to a Hollywood film. The border crossing was perilous, but Ali had assured them that he had connections with smugglers who regularly transported goods across this porous frontier. Affleck, exhilarated by the danger and his desire to capture the essence of Argo, felt alive in a way he hadn't felt since his early days in film. The adrenaline pushed them forward. They reached a small Iranian village just past the border. It was exactly what Affleck had envisioned. He began to film immediately, capturing the rustic streets, the mountains looming in the background, and the people who moved with a quiet, wary demeanor. For a moment, everything seemed to be going as planned. But as the sun began to rise, things took a sharp turn. About 3 hours into their filming, a group of Iranian Revolutionary Guards pulled up in unmarked vehicles. Affleck and his team were spotted immediately, their foreign presence drawing attention in the quiet village. Within minutes, they were surrounded. "Who are you?" one of the soldiers demanded in Farsi, his voice thick with suspicion. Ali, the fixer, tried to talk them down, explaining that they were tourists. But their cameras, the handheld gear, and Affleck's unfamiliar face told a different story. Affleck and his crew were detained, blindfolded, and driven to a remote building that served as a local intelligence headquarters. For Affleck, the hours that followed were surreal, as if he had stepped into the very movie he was directing. His mind raced, caught between fear and disbelief. This wasn't supposed to happen. He was Ben Affleck, a well-known actor and filmmaker, not some covert CIA operative. But none of that mattered now. In the eyes of the Revolutionary Guard, he was a potential spy. Inside the building, Affleck and his team were separated. For the next 48 hours, they were interrogated. The guards didn't believe Affleck's story. The fact that he was a famous American actor only added to their suspicion. They accused him of working for the CIA, of attempting to undermine the Iranian government, or perhaps even planning another secret rescue mission like the one portrayed in his film. "No, you don't understand," Affleck repeated, exhausted. "I'm just a filmmaker. I'm making a movie about what happened in 1979. It's called Argo. The more he explained, the less credible his story sounded to his captors. Hollywood and espionage were too closely linked in the minds of the Revolutionary Guards, and to them, Affleck's presence near the border was no coincidence. Back in Istanbul, the Argo production team was thrown into a panic. Affleck and his crew had gone off the grid, missing their planned check-ins. His wife, Jennifer Garner, who had stayed behind in Los Angeles with their children, was notified by the producers. Panic spread through Hollywood, but the incident was kept under wraps to avoid an international scandal. The U.S. State Department was immediately contacted, and soon covert diplomatic efforts were underway. Given the history between the United States and Iran, this was a precarious situation. High-level conversations between diplomats took place behind closed doors, leveraging every ounce of influence they could muster to secure the release of Affleck and his team. It took 5 days before progress was made. Affleck and his crew were held in captivity, kept under constant watch, unsure of their fate. Then, in the dead of night, they were blindfolded again, driven for hours, and finally released near the border they had crossed. The Iranian government had officially denied any knowledge of their detainment, framing it as the act of rogue militia members. Exhausted, dehydrated, and shaken, Affleck and his team made their way back to Turkey. Upon returning to the U.S., the incident was kept largely under wraps. Affleck, shaken but determined, finished Argo on schedule. The experience, however, had changed him. He had lived, albeit briefly, through a situation not unlike the one he had spent years researching and portraying on film. When Argo was released, it was hailed as a triumph, winning the Academy Award for Best Picture. But for Affleck, the movie would always carry a personal weight. He had been kidnapped, interrogated, and survived in a country still haunted by its complex relationship with the West.